right, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Between the Bellz. My name is Adam Alexander, and with me are two of the people I'd pick up from the airport on an hour's notice. We got,
So not even 10 minutes?
Not even.
Hey, motherfucker, whenever. All right. Hold them up to that.
I don't care.
All
I
right.
thought about
We
it.
fly all the time.
Huh?
We fly all the time.
Yeah.
Just hit me up.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Damn.
You know who,
That's on record.
Let me, hey, I
Just give them like $20 for gas.
I stand by it. I thought that would be cool. I thought that would be a cool introduction, but I blew their minds. But yeah, I got with me Coach Joe Vargas, Coach Maggie Duarte's.
Duarte.
I thought it's a D-U-A-R, but it's an E-R, so it's Duarte.
No, Duarte.
How do you spell it?
D-U-A-R-T-E.
Oh, I thought it was D-U-E. Okay, I thought it was E. Okay, never mind.
It's all good.
I don't like words.
That would have been Duerta.
But Coach Magz over there. I'm just gonna say Magz. See, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm doing
That's
too
cool,
much.
man. You know, you putting my last name out there and
I'm
shit.
doing
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
I'm doing too much. But yeah, you know what? When I realized that, whenever Raquel Miller
Yeah.
and her sister travel, I clear my calendar.
Oh, Lord.
We'll be hanging
Okay.
out. We'll be hanging out, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're going to wherever." They're always going Greece, Hawaii, wherever.
Yeah.
I think I just named two of the locations they went in April.
Yeah.
And I've noted, I was like, "Oh, cool. When y'all leaving?" They'll be like, "Saturday." I'm like, "All right, make sure I'm not doing anything Saturday." And when y'all coming back? "Oh, well, the following Sunday." I was like, "All right, make sure I got that down." Because hands down, 9 out of 10 times I'll get a phone call. "Hey, can you
Oh,
you
okay, I
can
see what
pick
you
us
mean.
up? Hey, can you take us to the airport real quick?" And I never have a problem with it. Matter of fact, it just happened the other day. I was at the gym. And I get a call from her sister, Tanisha. She's like, "What you doing right now?" I'm like, I'm at the gym. She's like, "When you free?" I'm like, "In about an hour." She's like, "All right, can you pick me up from the airport?" And I had no problem with it. And I was driving to the airport. I was like, "You know, you have no problem with it." It's like, "Nah, it's the people. It matters with people." And I was like, "Who else do you do this
Well,
for?"
it's for the people, huh?
Yeah,
You're the
it all
people's
depends on
person.
who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it. Like,
Damn.
some people will call me up, and I'll just be like, "No."
Well, we're going to have to see, dog.
We'll put them to the test.
Yeah, no, it'll be easy breezy. So anyway, how are you guys? How's your week?
Good.
Chill. What did I do?
It's been, well, congratulations on Kyle's win.
Oh, yeah, man. It was beautiful.
We did a lot. Remember we went to the Marv Nation fight.
Oh,
on
yeah, we
Friday?
did. I'll be
And
forgetting,
then,
man.
And then we did. Her and Gordo ended up cornering Kyle in the fight. I had some event with my family that was very important. And she ended up, her and Gordo taking the reins, and they did well.
Well, let's start with the Marv Nation fights. How was those go?
Well, one of our team guys one of Coach Bashir's fighters fought Mario Ramos. He won. I forgot what round he knocked him in, or the referee stopped it.
Yeah.
But he looked very good. He looked sharp. He looked strong. I think now he's 13-0.
He's like 11 or
11
12
and
0,
0,
yeah.
One of those. He's undefeated very well. We did very good. And then we saw one of the guys that's part of Team Reynoso, who we're working with in La Roca, and he fought a very seasoned fighter named Baez.
That was a tough fight.
And they went 10 rounds, but it was a good fight. For him, it's a learning curve fight.
Cool.
We got to see.
I saw you post a picture with Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
for Javin and
His brother, Jose.
Jose, yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorite fighters of all time. But
He's a classic.
I try to keep my excitement level down.
Contain
Sugar
yourself,
Ray,
dog.
yeah. But I was excited to see him.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen him plenty of times before.
I'm sure.
But he's just a cool guy all the way around, man.
That's cool. And then so Magz was in the. I went to the. I went to watch Kyle's fight, and Kyle he's an exceptional fighter.
Yeah, I'd actually like to get your take on that, man, because it's different being in the corner and being in the audience, man. It's a different angle. It's a different mindset.
What I saw with Kyle Cobra was just somebody who was very patient but deliberate. He looked for his opportunities, and as soon as he saw his opportunities, he took them. His challenger looked like he was going to be something coming in the ring. Because
he's solid.
The more fights I see, the more I'm like, okay, this guy's probably going to do something in the ring. One dude came in a T-shirt and a pair of shorts. I'm like, he ain't. This one ain't gonna last.
Oh man.
He didn't make, and I recalled it. He didn't make it out of second. Yeah. Oh, the B side of the ring is now like 10-0, 0-10. 0-10 now because nobody went out.
Well,
the
it just
B-side.
means it's gonna get the numbers are tipping to the B-side soon.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's right, boy.
We'll see when people on the B side can bring.
Well,
something.
actually, the main event on that fight, I'm not gonna
they
name.
canceled.
No, the main event.
Yeah.
The kid that fought the actual main event that day.
Oh, okay.
He was the A-side fighter. He got cut.
Oh wait. Yeah, I left.
Oh well, you missed the fight. That was a draw. So technically, the B-side.
Oh, it's
Won.
9-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh shit.
I mean, he shouldn't have. Yeah, the other guys I think 7-1 or something.
Okay, so it was a draw.
But it was a draw. But when there's a saying, when the A side has a draw, that means he lost.
Yeah. That's. I mean, not all draws are wins or losses. It's like, or not all ties are ties. It's like, how did they tie you?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something similar in soccer.
Yeah.
It's like, how did they tie us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've seen some teams in soccer consider a tie a victory because they did better than they were supposed to, and I'm sure flip side, other teams should consider that a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about lost wins and record. Somebody sent me a message on Instagram. I can't remember who it was, but they said that they heard our podcast and they said, "Why do you decide that I should have a loss on Haney?"
Because you didn't call it.
Listen.
Okay.
I said that Loma would win. I called it like that. But in a lot of people's eyes, they think Loma won, right? And a lot of people think Haney won. He said, "Why don't you do a survey and ask people if I should have a loss or a win?"
Dang, you really gonna protest your?
I'm protesting. Hey, Loma's protesting. I'm gonna protest too.
Fuck it.
You saw the highlights that we sent each other.
I
bro.
saw the highlights.
Let me know if somebody finds Haney highlights because I've been looking for them. Besides the jab and the hugs,
They ain't on my boy.
he didn't hug that much either, but he did hug.
So you still think Loma won?
I'm fucking sure he won.
All right, yeah, okay. So if you're listening, our podcast listeners, comment on our posts and
Should
just,
Coach get his old back?
Should Coach get the Loma win, even though Loma didn't get the win? All right,
On paper.
Should Coach get the Loma win? So just let's let me know.
We can just erase it from the record.
Expunge it real quick.
Expunge it real quick.
That is silly. Now going back to Kyle's fight, that's really silly.
They just made a great point.
Because I have not been able. I have listened to a lot of arguments that Loma won, and none of them seem valid. Like they all end up just saying that Loma, all based on what Loma did, and then they talk about 3 rounds.
10, 11.
10, 11, and maybe 4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay, so he just took it, 9-3? He got 3 out of. You got to win.
No, they're saying the other rounds were all swing rounds, so you can.
Yeah, it all depends on your perception.
The perception of what you like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, honestly, that's what boxing is like.
It is
Every
subjective.
different judge likes different stuff, you know. So there's 3 rounds that Loma really won. How many rounds did Haney really win in people's eyes?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not watch it like that. I personally didn't watch the fight like that. I watched the fight and I was like, yeah, Haney took that round. Okay. Yeah, so now you kind of, I will allow
Please.
the listeners to give Coach his O
Please.
back. If it just, friggin' who we got? Lance.
Lance.
It falls on
Does
you right
Coach-
now.
Our one
Does Coach
one
get his
listener.
O back? All right, so now going back to Kyle's fight. But yeah, I just saw a very deliberate, patient person in this fight. And I think his opponent was a challenge in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kyle figured him out and then just went to town on him.
Yeah.
For the remainder. That fight got called too, right?
Yep.
Yep.
They
It
stopped
got called in
it was like the fourth. Yeah.
So I heard some of his body punches land. They were just, he was really sharp.
Yeah, man.
It was very impressive.
Yeah.
Now-
That's the
now-
same word that I used.
From the corner, what did you see?
Well, I think from the get go, man, I wasn't worried, man, because I saw the confidence that he had in himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He seemed really sure of himself and ready for whatever came at him. And that was a big sign for me that, he was going to adjust no matter what. He was listening to everything, the instructions that Anthony was giving him. So he did really well, man. He did well. He adjusted. He wasn't pulling back. The distance management was, I think, that impressed me the most.
Okay.
From him, his biggest improvement was the distance management for sure.
Now going back to let's take a Between the Bellz moment. You said the confidence you saw, and you saw his confidence put you at ease. Talk about that a little.
Well,
bit.
he just seemed like he was at ease, man. Like it didn't matter what his opponent brought, because he was gonna be able to handle it. You know, it was just, sometimes there are times where you can tell that, like, there's a lot of so in the locker rooms, man, you know, maybe a lot of people don't know this, but sometimes there's more than like one fighter. If you're not the main event, the likeliness of you being in the locker room with however many fights there are, say there's like 8 fights and the main event and the co-main get their own lockers, like 6 of them are all going to be shoved into one locker,
right?
You know, so you get to see them, see how they're preparing, see them warming up and all that. And a lot of the times you sense the tension, man. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're going around like punching walls and shit. and no, seriously. So you're just like, okay, he seems like he's got a lot of pent up something, emotion, whatever, tension. And Kyle he was at ease, man. He was at ease. He was joking around, and that's what I like to see. I like to see that. They not so loose and relaxed and comfortable, like. But I'm saying, like, you're just carrying yourself like, you know, that you're gonna get the win.
And you just saw from his confidence, we got nothing to worry about. This is easy work. And I like that. Have you ever been in a different situation where you're just like, oh, this is gonna be easy, but then you're with someone who's nervous, who's has zero confidence? You're like,
I've seen a situation where it seems like, okay, yeah, he looks pretty, and then you get there, and I kind of feel people's vibe, you know what I mean, like their energy, and I'm like, oh shit, I started to feel like me. I started to feel a little bit of nerves, you know what I mean, and that fight, that was a tough fight that night, in Vegas. So Coach, it could be any. Now,
what is Kyle's strong point? Kyle's strong point as a boxer?
He has a lot, but the strongest point of things is that we had to like work with him was his aggression.
That does not surprise me. To make him more aggressive.
No.
Smarter aggressive.
A smarter. Okay, so like to kind of dial it back and
at the right time, right attacks. Not for Kyle. He had come from a gym, and this is our second fight with Kyle.
Right, because I saw him. He just showed up at the gym recently. You guys been working with him just within the past 6 months.
Yeah, probably about 5-6 months. And he came from a gym where the philosophy was just put your head down and come forward and just fight. That's good for, like, you know, for it's crowd pleasing. But as a coach, your fighter starts fading with that kind of, you know, eventually it's going to take a toll on him. You know, it's like, so I kind of like was just working with him. All of us were collectively working with him on being a little smarter in his attack. So all these news that I heard, because I was at a family function, so I was just checking my phone every like 10 minutes, every 10 seconds to make sure everything was good. But I didn't have the confidence of being there because I know what Kyle looked like when we were wrapping up camp, and even Coach Bashir complimented us on how good he was looking for camp. So I wasn't worried about that. I was more worried because I wasn't there seeing their faces and how, like Maggie says, I go off of that energy too. So I just sent Kyle a message, and I told him, hey, I need to know what happened as soon as you're done. Win or lose, send me a message.
He said, like, as soon as they take the gloves off, get your phone.
and I didn't hear from him, so I sent him a message. I was like, what the fuck did I tell you? What's up? And he called. He said, he called me. I already knew he won. And he calls me. He goes, Coach, I was so happy. I did everything how I had to, and everything worked out perfect. And I came out so relaxed. I felt relaxed. I felt good. I feel like I didn't even fight, you know? So that was like, good. I was happy to hear that.
Now, let me address, like, when you said aggression, I said I can understand that. Kyle is such a nice, gentle person. Like, just like when I talk to him, when I see him. And
very laid back.
Yeah. So to see him just be aggressive and just, you know,
pushing the pace,
take someone's guts. It's like, wow, you know, he's got that in him. So I thought that you were saying, hey, you put that aggression in him.
No,
he's one of the ones you got to pull back, man.
You got really. Yeah. That's so amazing with boxers, and I keep that in mind for myself.
And for this camp, he basically sparred the whole camp with the hurt rib.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we had to make adjustments on covering that rib. He was helping. Towards the end, he was sparring Mario Ramos, and Mario Ramos throws a beautiful body shot. I was like, oh my God, it's like watching a car accident. I was hoping it didn't, you know. And he handled it well. He got hit a couple of times, but he pushed, and it just shows his determination to be better.
Now, going to Mario Ramos, I talked to Coach Bashir after their fight, and Coach Bashir said he was not only happy with the result, which of course was a victory, but also with how Ramos took the fight. And I asked, how so? Talk to me. He said Mario was patient and let the fight come to him. That is, how hard is that? I find that to be very hard.
Well, it takes a lot of discipline.
Right. It's like you're in the ring, you're between the bells. It's like I got to go over there and do some damage. Or I got to go over there. This fight has to start now. It's not really in my head as a boxer yet that I can just wait for them to come over and try to do something and then take charge there. Like, how big is patience in the ring? How important is patience in the ring?
It's very important, man. I think it's one of the elements. So I often think about this, and I'm like, I thought about this last night. I was like, what makes a perfect fighter? And I think in my mind, there is no such thing as a perfect fighter, you know, but there are certain elements that work better than others. You know what I'm saying? Like, say there's like 5 elements, you know, obviously maybe one day I'll put it together, and say there's 5 elements, right? There's certain, and you have 3, but you don't have the other 2. Certain 3 will be more important than others, and patience and I think and discipline come together. You know what I'm saying? You kind of have to have both, because without the discipline to be patient, it's gonna be hard. You're gonna like revert to what you know best. You know what I mean?
You know how Mike Tyson says, like, you know, if you ain't disciplined, if you don't have discipline, you ain't shit. Like Mike Tyson says. I add to that, if you don't have patience, you ain't getting shit. Because patience is that thing that we need to get to where we want to go, to get the results we want. Now, Coach, when you're in the ring, how do you look at patience? How do you see how do you view patience from a boxer point of view?
Well, that patient, not just for a boxer, for a coach, for the whole team, because when you're in the locker room and you're waiting for that fight, and sometimes that's what kills the guys, is the being laced up and ready to go. You have to learn how to be patient. I've seen a lot of guys waste their energy in the locker room because they're just. First time I ever was in a Bellator fight, I was in the locker room, and those guys were fucking warming up, and they were fighting harder than they were fucking gonna fight in the ring. The cage that day. And I realized that a lot of those guys are new coaches in MMA, and there's not like a structure like boxing where it's been in the game for 100 years, you know, where the coaches know what's up. They're kind of learning on the fly as they go. A lot of those coaches were just warming up, and I was like, damn, none of these fools are patient, man. I had the time I had War Machine, and we were fighting on Bellator, and I said, bro, I don't know MMA, bro, but I know how to warm up, and you're not going to warm up like these guys, you know? And we won the second round, you know, submission. But he was relaxed. He listened. Patience is most important.
And I really wanted to talk about that today, because as the motto of Between the Bellz is to help you get better, help our listeners apply this stuff to their life and figure out, you know, how they can be better than they were yesterday, and how they're going to be better tomorrow than they are today. And I think in the beginning of my, you know, going after my best self, patience was like key. Even so now, where I kind of feel like I've been slipping lately and letting a couple things slide, I talk to myself like, you kind of lost patience, you know? And patience is how you're going to get to where you're going. We're not going to wake up different, you know? And I grew up in the age of the 90-second montage, you know, where like Karate Kid is the best example. He doesn't know what he's doing, but then the music plays and he starts training. 90 seconds later, he's the Karate Kid. Yeah, he's the Karate Kid. And it kind of tricked me in my brain to thinking that that's how long it took.
Kind of like the term microwave society, right?
Yeah.
You want everything instantaneous.
Yeah. And it's not going to happen. And you really have to be, what do they say? You know, you want to be a warrior in the garden and not a gardener in the war. In this instance, you want to be a warrior.
I'm about to say
what
Yeah, we talked about this.
Okay, in this instance, you want to be a warrior in the garden. Noticing how that garden is blooming after like months of toiling, dirt, and patience. Grass, it just doesn't spring up the next day. So, like, have you talk to me about like patience being? Have you ever been impatient?
Yeah. Every time my package don't fucking arrive when it's supposed to, man. Yeah, you know what I mean? It sounds stupid, but that's kind of like a pretty relevant example, I think. You know what I mean? Like, and it's stupid. You know what I mean? I think about like, man, that's just gonna get here when it gets here, and that's it. But you know what? While you were speaking, it brought a memory to when Jose, who's actually fighting on the 17th of June, in a couple of weeks. Jose Cholet, yeah.
He got enough fight. Good.
Yeah, which is Habib's brother.
His fight was canceled. His debut fight was canceled.
Yep.
Matter of fact, let me pause. You're gonna talk about that.
Pause.
I just want to talk about this fight Saturday night. Kyle's fight. The promoter was bullshit. Like, just like, I mean, I don't know the names of anybody, but I was at that fight. I was in that same place for a fight a week before.
Yeah,
and it was high class.
Okay.
Your seats had numbers on them.
Man.
There was a dope ass DJ.
Yeah.
The ring corners had adverts and logos on them. I don't really remember too many ring girls, but this one ring girl looked like somebody's cousin. It was pretty, you know what I mean? So I was like, and then you fast forward to this one. I'm just like, the seats, I upgraded my seat because I told you I didn't want standing room only. I wanted to be ringside.
Yeah.
Chick had me cash app her the difference. And then just wrote upgraded on my seat.
God.
And I was like, well, where's my seat? Like, where's my new seat? She's like, in the B section.
Wherever you want.
Yeah. I was so mad. I didn't even have to upgrade it. I could have just came in and just sat anywhere.
Could have just sat
The difference is that shout out to like Marv Nation. Marv Nation is on the come up. They're a promotion company. That's the fight we're at on Friday.
Is that No Boxing, No Life?
No, they're two different entities, but they work together.
They work together.
Okay.
But Marv Nation has a lot of experience, and they're coming up. You know, they're gonna be like, hopefully they'll be up there with like they're not that far away from catching up to Golden Boy, and then hopefully they could be at the same level of Top Rank and PBC.
They were giving away. They had giveaways between the rounds.
Yeah. They were doing that at the show we went to.
Yeah, this one. No,
they had Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns go in the ring.
Yeah. See,
and this last one, you know,
at Kyle's fight. No, I think the DJ was somebody's iPod. It just like it was not a pleasant experience. That's why I didn't stay.
But that's the fight game when you're starting. Sometimes I've been into fights and not even people think of Mexico. I've been in place. I fought in Miami, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I fought in Miami, Oklahoma, not Miami.
I thought there was no comma. I thought you said Miami and
Oklahoma.
Oh, that's a place
in the middle of nowhere. Fucking 20 people in the stands. You know, and our music was a boombox. And I've been to shows at the MGM, T-Mobile, Barclays, Madison Square Garden. I've been in some remote areas. So that's boxing. One day you're on top. That's what I like. Eddie Reynoso. Who else? The Mayweathers, man. Mayweather did it for a long time. The Uncle Roger, rest in peace. They would go to every show. They go to the big ass ones, the little ones. Robert Garcia does it all the time. They're everywhere, man. Like, if you want to be good at this, you got to be willing to fight in a show where there's 200-300 people or 20,000.
And that's one thing I did have to remind myself. It's like, man, this is just like comedy. Well, when I was a stand-up comic,
entertainment, man. Let's go back to that.
I did shows where like I was standing in front of the obstructive view. Like, it was just like there was a beam right in front of me, and I've done big rooms, so I get it. But it was still like, it mattered more to me this time because it was my money I spent. Right?
Of course, man.
So now going back to Jose Cholet.
Right, Jose.
Impatience.
So the reason why I bring that up is because, Jose, before I was there with the team, he had joined the Army, and he had an extensive amateur career right from the time he was 8 years old, or 8 or 9, and all the way until before he left to the Army, which was when he was 17 or 18 years old. And so he had a good four year gap from boxing. And when he came back, that was one of the things that I told him. I was like, listen, man, you're going to notice that, certain people are up here. And I said, the most important thing here that I can tell you is you need to be patient with yourself so you can get yourself back up to a level and even above that. you know. So that's one thing that a lot of times, you know, in comparison to anybody's fitness journey, you lose patience. You lose patience with yourself because you want everything, like you said, the 90-second montage. And that's why patience is so important. You're so fixated on the result. You're only thinking about the result, and you're forgetting about what's going to take you there and how beautiful the journey is, man. You learn a lot on the way, and people just want the result.
I'm not going to lie. It happened to me today. You guys saw D after the workout. D was like, oh, man, just in time. Everybody, we're about to do abs.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I was like, and I told him no last week. He was like, let's do abs. I was like, no, get away from me. So this week I was like, dude, I need to do abs.
Yeah.
So he got us all, we all did 100 sit-ups. And by my count, it's actually 125. But he said one was actually half, so we had to do that 50 of those. I was like, that's crazy. But I got home. I was like, oh, I should at least see one ab.
Yeah. Fucking Adam, bro.
And I learned that night that you're talking about. I'm from the same era too. The night, what was it, 90 seconds?
90-second montage,
man.
When I wanted to box, I don't know if I was like 9 or 10, but I remember I went to the gym, and I walked in with my mom. I begged her to take me, and I remember the coach when I walked up. I said, I want to fight, and he looked at me and he laughed.
I'm doing this because I know. Keep going.
He laughed at me and he said, no, you don't. And it's not like nowadays where you just want to sell you a membership. He didn't want to waste his time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, yes, I do. And no, you don't. Yes, I do. He told my mom, ma'am, this ain't a daycare center. My mom goes, no, I don't even want him to box. That was what sold him.
But what did he do? Tell us.
Oh, he made me stand in front of a mirror for like basically 2 months.
Yes.
Just throwing the jab and a 1-2.
Jeez.
That's it. First, I just threw the jab. Then, like a couple of weeks, I 1-2. Then step backward, step forward. Step to the left, step to the right, never cross your legs, never bring them together. Mm-hmm. That was 2 months of work. So I think at least once a day, somebody comes up to me, a random new member, and says, what does it take for me to be a fighter? And I tell them the 3 Ps, dog. Like I said, patience, practice, and I forgot the other one.
No, I think
persistence.
Persistence.
Yeah,
Persistence. Because practice is key. And I tell guys, you watch baseball, you watch football, you watch boxing. I mean, you watch any sport. You watch all of them sacrifice and put hours into their sport. Mm-hmm. Baseball, you play baseball. You know, you do the same fucking throwing motion. You do the same swing over and over. Football, run the same gap, the same drills.
Like when you see those shortstop's my favorite position. Those guys, by the time they get to college, have taken 10,000 ground balls.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean, over and over and over and over repetition-wise. And that's great. Have you, now, I want to tell you, like, my personal horror story with impatience is the inability to save money. Mm-hmm. Like that, if you aren't patient, don't even try and save money. Don't even try and say, oh, you know, I'm going to start stacking my checks. Because that's the key to that. Because I was thinking about what's the biggest L I've taken when being impatient. And first I started thinking of the ring, you know, running to get punched in the face, you know, going across the ring just to get punched in the face. But no, I was like, oh no, if you can go deeper into your life. And it was just like my inability to develop stronger relationships. You know, my love life is like is a pretty tragic thing. But one of the reasons for that is that I have been impatient on letting it grow. Always got to put the foot on the gas, and you know we gotta get to this spot. I was definitely one of those dudes who said I love you way too soon. You know, like if we're being honest. Now it's like
I wasn't expecting that to come out your mouth right now.
I'm being honest.
Like,
I'm being honest.
I can relate though, man. I've been there.
You know,
I've been there.
But
you're afraid of them to fucking leave you. That's why. You know?
You don't trust the journey. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't trust the process. Like instead of like, oh, you know what, I gotta get so much money in my bank account. Why don't you cut that in half? You know, I want $10,000 in my bank account, but you know what? I'm gonna celebrate my first 500 or my first 50. You know, it's like that you have $50 in your account. and you don't, and all your bills are paid. Like that's a huge thing. Like for
I think
a lot of people.
I think a lot of times it comes down to what your purpose is with that too. You know what I'm saying? Like what are you saving for? You know, otherwise, like if there's not something really there for you, then you're gonna be like, well, whatever. You're not gonna value it that much. You know?
Yeah, you gotta make sure that money. I always admire the people who got rich with Bitcoin, because when that first started, it was not. The projections weren't as high as that, was it what it was. And they had this rule is like, I forget, it was an acronym for something, but it was like, under no circumstances do you touch this Bitcoin. And when it got a little bit big, there was still no circumstances. Then when it blew up and like each Bitcoin was 5 figures, that's when it took them patience to get there.
Yeah.
Do you know of any times where you personally lost out? You, Coach, lost out from being impatient?
No.
Coach is like, no, I've learned everything in the right amount of time, and I did everything perfect, because that's why they call me Coach. I don't make mistakes. I just point them out and hope people not make them anymore.
I'm just letting him go, bro. I'm like, where's he gonna stop?
But that's accurate.
That's fair. Like some people have.
I'll tell you how I learned patience.
How did you learn patience?
I used to run with Coach Clement. He's like a mentor to me, Clemente, and he would take me to the mountains of Ramona. Every Sunday we would run on a Sunday, and he would take off back then it was a CD player. He'd take away my CD player, and he would tell me to run. He said, "You're gonna run 5 miles," and when I got to the 5-mile mark, he'd be waiting for me. It's another 5 miles. And then he'd break it down to like a mile. Then I get to the 15-mile mark, and he goes, "You're done." And I'd be like, "Damn, 15 miles, Clemente?" He goes, "Yeah, if I would have told you 15 from the beginning, you would have burned out at 7 or 8. But I gave you small goals, taught you to be patient."
That's very smart.
And as you got to your 15, if I tell you 15 seems like a lot. But if I tell you 5 at a time, you're going to do it. So I learned patience like that. I go, okay, small goals.
Breaking it down. Don't try and jump from the bottom of the mountain to the top.
But I was only like 11.
11 just running 15.
I was like 16, 17.
16, 17 running 15 miles. That's still.
That was only once a month. We would do that run on Sundays. I said every week, but it was once a month.
That's
He didn't want to burn me out. But every day we'd run like 5 miles every day.
But still, just a little bit at a time. What about you, Magz? Any tragic, impatient stories?
Tragic? I don't think so. I'm trying to think back, man.
I don't mean tragic. I mean, have you learned patience through impatience?
You know what? I think my biggest patience lesson was the military. That was it. I think it came down to you made a commitment. Now you got to see it through.
Yeah.
Whether you knew what you were getting into or not, you have no fucking choice. You're in there. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So I think there was a time where I was growing really impatient. I was like, I want to get the fuck out of here. I don't want to do this shit anymore. But hey, you take it, same concept. Take it day by day, man. There's really not much else to do.
That, and both of you guys are hitting the nail on the head, is that you got to take it day by day. You can't you can't join the military, Navy, right?
Yeah, I was in the
Navy. You can't join the Navy and just be like, think that 4 years is going to go by overnight. That's 2 different standards.
Oh, man. And when you think of it like that, just how Coach said, if he would have told him like 15 years, oh, man, when you think of it like that shit, you make yourself miserable thinking shit like that. Fuck, man, I got 4 more years on this fucking ship. Oh, my God, bro. Like, you're like, man.
That just came off so real.
Yeah, that's how it is, dude. It sucks, man, because, I can go into it, but, it's not that interesting, but it's like that. And the moment that I got into my rack, I'll go on record saying this shit. I got to my rack the first night I flew into they flew me out on deployment, and we were in Oman. That was my first night on the ship. And up until then, you go to boot camp, you do whatever, shit like that. But it don't get real till you get to the boat. So the first night I slept in my rack, and the rack is small, bro. It's small. It's about probably like the length of this whole table. And the same width. Yeah. It might even be longer. The table might be longer. And you're in there in this fucking box. So I'm just looking at it like, what did I do with my life, bro? I was a little tear. I shed a tear. I was like, fuck, I got 4 years of this shit, man. Yeah, it felt like that. And it just take it day by day, man. Day by day. I was like, why am I making myself miserable thinking of I can't wait till I get out when no matter what, the time is still going to be different. You know, I'm fixating on something that is just not there yet. You know,
time is such a it's a matter of perception. You know, it's like Coach was saying, if he had to run all 15 miles at once, he never would have made it.
Yeah.
But 5 here, 5 there, then 1, 2. You know, that's really what breaking it down. And I think that's how patience. If you're struggling with your patience, break down what you're trying to be patient
Absolutely.
with even further.
I think that's the biggest takeaway. I think it is, man. And it goes into that. It's like having those big goals is great, right? There's nothing wrong with that, because there's times where you forget why you're doing something in the first place, right? It kind of gives you purpose. But the small goals, man, those are the ones that really matter, because those are the ones who keep you in the game.
Yeah,
you know? That's
it. I noticed when I started running again, and first thing I had to remind myself is like, do not look at the entire loop that you're trying to run. You know. And I was like, oh yeah, first, you know, my first was that house, you know, or just houses and little roads. That those are the checkpoints are great to have on any journey.
Yeah. Because
that's like, oh yeah, I'm still going. I'm still going. And then you'll look up and you'll start to see, you know, the results form.
Yeah.
You know, they won't just appear. The results will start coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a huge thing. One thing I talked to when I did sparring last week.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm looking forward to
No, dude, I'm like a proud dad. I don't know if I should throw that guy's name in there, but somebody came up to me and says, bro, Adam fucked me up this weekend. And I shared a little tear like, did he? Like, oh. I was like, oh, man, that's amazing. Thanks, man. Thanks for letting me know. I meant to tell you, but you told me yesterday.
It wasn't me sparring. I took the little kid
when you sparred.
Not when I was sparring, but when I was coaching. Yeah. And so I had one of the little kid with the curly hair. Mm-hmm. Well, I finally had enough. We got a headgear for him, because every Friday he shows up but no headgear. Mm-hmm. I'm like, screw that. We got to find headgear because you're getting in the ring. And then I put him in, and I was like, you're staying in 4 straight rounds. Kid's 12, I think.
Yeah.
No, he's 15, but he's small.
A small 15-year-old. I'm like, you're doing 4 rounds straight.
Yeah.
And he did them. And I wanted him to feel that pain.
Yeah.
You know, like how horrible 4 rounds straight is. I remember
your lungs, man.
You can't breathe. Yeah. And he got out of the ring. I said, okay, what hurts more, your muscles or your lungs? He's like, my lungs. I was like, all right, now I want you to know that you endured that. Like, you made it. Like, no matter what, like, you made it. And I want you to know that you can get better at it. You can make that 4 rounds feel like 1 round. The more you just work on your cardio, you run. And he's like, oh, yeah, I try and run and stuff like that. And being able to just impart, and that's what I'm trying to do now with this episode of this podcast, is impart how patience is a key ingredient. It's like freaking putting yeast in bread. Mm-hmm. You know, patience is the key ingredient. If you're not getting a result, ask yourself, am I being patient?
Yeah.
But patience is one of the hardest things to teach also.
It is.
Everybody, we live in a world where everything's instant, or you get away, you get something new fast. And this generation, I mean,
it's a tough
the
one,
way I talk to these athletes, these young athletes, is they're in shock because they never experience when I tell them, you just challenge them all the time, you know. And they say, how long does it take me to get good, coach? I said, like 6 months to 8 months. Like, huh? And that's just to be able to spar good people, you know. And they're like you. They're like, well, I saw the Karate Kid, you know. They say Cobra Kai. Yeah. And they're like, you know, it's on Netflix too. And they're just like, well, why not go faster than that? So if I put you in there with the kid, the other day we had, you weren't there, but they had like Ducky organized this sparring from all kinds of gyms. There was about over 80 athletes there. Mm. And the kids that are at our gym were watching these kids spar. And all these kids sparring from other gyms had anywhere from 5 to like 70 amateur fights. Uh-huh. So the kids that you're talking about that are 15, 16 years old, they were watching those guys spar. They were like, oh, fuck that. Like, these kids are persistent. They've been doing it forever. Some of those kids have been boxing for 3-4 years.
And that's a very good point. Patience will keep you from putting on pants that are too big for you. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're patient, like if you're impatient, you're gonna jump in the ring with anybody. They're gonna beat the shit out of you.
You're gonna overwhelm yourself,
and you're gonna quit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you're patient and just say, you know what, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that yet. And then you'll get to the point where you go, all right, I got to find out if I'm ready for that. But that's part of the journey, getting up to there. Because I know if I had.
But that's why you have a coach. You have to take into consideration what your coach tells you. For any kid that comes to the gym, mm-hmm. they want to spar and they want to fight. They don't care if they get their ass beat or not. I shouldn't even say any person that comes to the gym, they want to spar. Mm-hmm. So it's your job as a coach to notice if they're up for it. You know, and sometimes you got to know how to say it to them without insulting them. I don't really care if I insult them, but sometimes you got to mold them and be, hey, you ain't ready yet. Why not? And then, all right, you want to see? Come here. You know?
And I want to, with me, patience is also something that you learn when it's exhibited towards you. Like, I never really learned patience because in my upbringing, it was never applied. No one was ever patient with me, and because of my brain, I needed patience, and mm-hmm. no one was ever. I was always rushed. Mm-hmm. I didn't learn patience until Coach. Mm-hmm. When I met Coach, and he started being patient with me, and sometimes I needed to. He would tell he was fine, and it scared the shit out of me because I was like, this relationship's gonna end. This relationship's gonna end.
You're afraid of it.
Because I'm like, I'm not learning fast enough. And Coach had the patience to tell me something 3-4 times. Yeah. And never once said, look, if you don't get this, I'm out.
Yeah.
Never once.
It was a foreign concept to you.
And that was like, he's the first person in my life where I've never heard somebody say that. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm telling you guys, I'm telling the listeners this, if you're not patient, one of the reasons may be is because you've never had anyone be patient with you. And now it's the time to just say, okay, I'm going to be the first person to be patient with myself. Mm-hmm. And that timeline I just set to save $1 million, I'm erasing the date. I don't care how long it takes me. That's when you're being real patient with yourself. Where you say, I don't care how long it takes me. Yeah. I'm going to do it. Yeah. That's to me, that's when you can apply the most patience, is by saying, I don't care how long it takes. Because me, it's like my boxing journey, I don't care how long it takes. I want to fight an opponent I don't know. Yeah. And that's my boxing journey. And so but I don't know. I Googled it. I was like, hey, who's the oldest person to become a pro? And there was this guy who's 54, mm-hmm. 52, 54 in the UK. And I was like, okay, so it's been done. So it's doable. And
even if it hadn't been done before, man, you can always be the one to break the mold,
I know, but still.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the times, like, damn, well, it hasn't been done. And that's a normal thought, man. It's a normal thought to have. You know what I mean?
But the best thought you can give yourself is, I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to stick to it. Persevere. That's another P word. Mm-hmm. Persevere. Just stick throughout all of it. I'm going to give you guys a chance to guess. Do you know where I'm least patient in my life?
Relationships.
Nah. Well, we don't know yet. We got to get me into one. And we'll
If y'all didn't know, he's still single, obviously. I had to point that one out.
Thank you. That's my wingman over there.
Ooh, man. I want to say, so just based on the things that I've heard you say before, man, it could be a number of things, right? You don't like people with pets. You've mentioned that before. You seem pretty patient with what you do, like your door dashing and all that, man. You seem patient with that.
Getting close.
Yeah.
It's in that realm.
Okay, so
driving.
Yeah, driving.
Behind the wheel.
You know what?
Hey,
like tell them really quick the prank I played on you last week.
Oh my God, I meant to lead with that. Okay, so you ain't tell Maggie?
No, I haven't told her yet.
Oh my God. Okay, so Coach and I ran into each other near the Chipotle Plaza, and he was going to get Ayu tuna or something.
Like, I know he ain't getting Chipotle.
No, he's at the Ahi sushi place, right? And I was like, hey, Coach. And we said, blah, blah, blah. And I had to go pick up an order at Chipotle. And the time it took me to go get that order, Coach jumped in my car. I leave my car running. I leave my car running.
Yo, what?
And moved it. And moved it. Now I
Yo,
get
you
back.
didn't tell me this shit.
I get back. I walk out and I see the empty parking spot. And my first thought is, oh, Coach Joe did it. But then I'm like, Coach Joe's car.
I got in my car and left.
Yeah, I like
I
Coach.
moved this car and got in my car.
I'm like, if Coach Joe did it, where's Coach Joe's car? And I'm like, oh no. And I'm trying to tell myself Coach Joe did it. And just like right before I started to cry.
Freak out.
Right before I started to cry.
I see that little lip go up and down real quick.
Coach Joe beeps his horn.
Yo.
And he did. He moved it just right on the other side, right out of my sight.
Oh
And I was
my
like,
God, bro!
I was so happy.
Because I got in my car and I said, Adam, I'm gonna go get my food, and then he's like, peace out, you know.
Yeah.
And then he says peace, and I look and his car's running. I'm like, who the fuck leaves his car running, you know? But he was quick, so I just jumped in it, stick shift, so I moved it. I parked it away.
It's just like your one, the blue one, huh?
Yeah, it's the exact same car. I have the same car in TJ.
Yeah.
And then I got in my car and then I drove around and I wanted to see his face and he came out like
it was a lot of just processing fears.
That's hilarious.
And stuff like that. Man,
That
I
was a good
can't.
story.
But
what troubles you driving?
I don't even know if it's patient wise because it's like I'm fine.
Do other
letting
dumb
people
people
in.
bother you?
When I get yelled at, last week I got flipped off, I got called an idiot, and all these things. And whenever that happens,
That's not you though.
whenever that happens, I have to talk myself out of murder. Like literally, like I have to just like, okay,
I've
you
been
know,
there,
let's
man.
let's work our way back. I know
Yeah.
now saying it out loud. Okay, it may not be a patient thing. It's definitely a therapy thing, but because it's like I just like this one guy. I drive aggressively,
Yeah.
you know, and
Okay, so
defensively
take
aggressively,
accountability for that. That's the first thing.
but not recklessly.
Okay.
Okay, if I see the spot, see the lane, I'm in it. Blah blah. I don't
Yeah.
hesitate. You know, I can get in. And California drivers, bunch of pussies.
No.
Boston is horrible.
I want to
I've been to
say
Boston.
something. I want to make something very clear.
right.
Everybody loves to come down and live in California, man.
Thank you.
A lot of these people that drive out here, a motherfucker who drives and knows where they're going, that's California. Everybody else who don't know how to merge, that's people who come from Boston. From fucking Arizona.
What?
From
Massachusetts.
fucking Illinois.
I'm not gonna Google this. I'm not.
New York, like Lance.
I'm not gonna research this. New York is the worst people. They don't
even
drive. You know. But I'm just gonna say it flat because it's a fact. Massachusetts has the best drivers in the world.
Fuck no! I've been to Massachusetts. I've drove there. You guys got those turnarounds. It's
rotaries.
crazy. No, that's
Rotaries,
crazy.
and they're popping up all
if
over
you miss
California.
if you miss
They
that
are.
your fucking exit, you have to go back like 20 miles to
Yeah.
go back. No, fuck that.
Oh, hell no.
Massachusetts has the best drivers in the world.
Okay.
And this guy, so I'm pulling into traffic. I'm taking a right into traffic, and as I do it, this guy calls me an idiot. Yells idiot, and it's like I can stop and get out of my car because he's at a light, and I'm like, I just don't do it, Adam.
Yeah.
Don't do it. But I wanted
That's
to.
impulsivity right there.
I wanted to see his face
Yeah.
when my brake lights come on, and then my car door opens, and I step out of the car and just walk up to him. Say it again. And then that's when I'm telling. See, you got to stop because that story doesn't end there, Adam. You're ripping him out of his passenger seat window, out of his driver's seat window.
It's a lot of things that come with the ego, man. You know what I mean? But, it's more complex than that than just saying that, But I will say that I've been there. I've had that road rage before, man. I've followed a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. It's not.
But driving for me, is the best place to practice patience.
Yeah.
And now I don't give a shit.
Really? You don't even notice no more?
I don't care. And if somebody does cut me off, man, I let it go. As soon as I can, I let it go.
Getting cut off, I don't even have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I'm a Massachusetts driver. We are awesome. We can tell. We can tell we're about to get cut off. So it's like it's never even a problem.
Yeah.
But just getting yelled at. That's what.
You should be used to it if you're from Boston. Everybody yells over there.
No, we don't. Nah.
Got your ass.
I understand what you think you're saying, but I don't agree. Okay. We yell at each other.
No shit.
Yeah.
But
so they yelled at you here and they had a Boston accent, you'd accept it more?
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. So
you're funny, bro.
So now this is the week. I want to just check in with your boxing picks. No, we
overturn. Yeah, go ahead.
No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Lance.
Overruled.
Do we give him his O? and give him his O back. And now we got Teofimo. And
we picked those. We picked those.
Yep, I wrote it down. And I wrote down Coach calls Taylor over Teofimo, then changes because of location.
Exactly.
Okay. So
but those are for this weekend.
That's this weekend. So I just want to make sure. I don't think that's the fight this weekend. There's nothing really else going on.
Yeah.
So I just want to check in and make sure because I'm gonna post this as soon as that fight's over. Not as soon as it's over, but pretty much as soon as
it's over.
So what do we got?
Well, let's make it official.
Again?
Yeah, I just want to make sure
like,
because I want it like because if anything happens, I don't want to be petitioned. I want to say you said it twice.
What are the fights after Teofimo after the 10th? Is there a fight?
We'll get that next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lopez
on the 17th.
I think so. No, we fight the 17th.
Yeah, we fight the 17th. Oh, I don't got my phone. Damn.
I'll go with Lopez.
You're still going Lopez?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I think that Lopez is gonna pull it off too, man.
I'm hoping to see that. See boxing schedule fight night. They got Taylor Lopez right there, and that is the 10th.
What's going on the 17th?
Oh, in the font. That's a good one. I think I already predict. That's the same day, no?
Which
Yeah.
one?
The Sergey Munguia fight.
Oh, that's right. We
picked
picked that too.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the 17th, Eubank Smith, Ocampo. How do you? I don't even know how to say that.
Tasu.
Okay.
Oh, Tim Su. Oh, damn. That should be
That's
decent.
that weekend. So we will look at those, and I'm watching these fights. I'm watching more fights. I'm learning.
That
You learn a lot, man.
Which one?
No, the other way. I'm sorry. Not that one. Julian Smith and Carlos Adames.
Okay. So we will call those. Okay, those are on the 24th. So I get a chance to look at those fighters.
Jason Quigley or Berlanga. That's a good fight
Ooh,
too.
that's a good one too.
Mm-hmm. So, but those. Are,
that undercard of Josh Taylor too. That one and Teofimo should be good too. There's a prospect, Xander Sayas, who's Puerto Rican. I think he's middleweight. He's really good too, man. He's a good fighter.
I just clicked the link on a shady website. So now.
Yeah, I saw that some porn came up.
No, it just took me to like a hotel bookings website like immediately.
Oh, even worse.
Like, yeah, I know. Right? I wish it was porn. All right. Let's see. So, and I told you guys I watched the Clarissa Shields fight.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch that, man.
I saw the highlights.
I didn't even watch the highlights.
I would like to me. I'm patting myself on the back for calling that. It was no work for her. It was so easy for her.
Yeah,
I just want to see.
It was last minute.
I just want to see Clarissa fight Raquel Miller or
Shadeja. Green.
She's the monster.
Yeah, dude.
You know. So I see that fight. I mean, I respect Clarissa for everything she's achieved and accomplished. It ain't no easy task. But I want to see her fight those two girls.
Good deal.
Not fight somebody she's already fought before. I think there's a couple of contenders up there that deserve a shot and would be interesting, and I think can grow what women's boxing is too.
And that's the important thing is this growing women's boxing. I really think is going to be. It should be the priority in accepting fights and booking and promoting.
Yeah, and start pushing for the 3-minute rounds, man.
Yep. All right. Well, we are all set and wrapping up this week's episode of Between the Bellz. Oh, I got one announcement. Between the Bellz is now spelled with a Z. And on Instagram, you can find us with @BetweenTheBellz with the Z. Okay.
We're doing big things.
Yeah, Between the Bellz.
I like it.
It's all been patience. It's got this far for us.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah, it's like we got our own Instagram account. So you guys follow us at Between the Bellz with the Z. And other than that, have fun, enjoy your lives, and be patient with yourselves. All right?
Peace.
Bye.